We are officially live. Good evening, everybody. It's John, House of Tortured Souls Live, Christmas edition. Special guest tonight, writer, director, even actor of 2016 smash, in my opinion, smash horror indie film, M.Seaman. Justin, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you for having me.
How you doing tonight?
Good, good. It's cold in Pittsburgh. I'll tell you that.
I was going to say we've had a couple flurries down here. I'm a couple hours southeast of you in Maryland on the Chesapeake Bay, and surprisingly, this time of year we don't see any snow at all, and we actually got a couple inches last weekend. So, kind of makes me wonder, what have you guys got sitting on the ground by now?
Oh, there's snow, and it's
Really?
about 18 degrees. Yeah, it's real cold. Yeah. So. I mean, last year it was crazy. I think last Christmas it was like 60 degrees outside. I remember being in a t-shirt. So, I'll take a cold winter. I'll take a cold Christmas, and then as soon as Christmas is over, let's get spring and summer back real quick.
Yeah, I hear you. I was actually spent the last minus the 3 years back here. I grew up in this area, but prior to that, I was in Florida for about the last 10 years, and everybody thought I was crazy for moving back and missing the snow and wanting it. And,
yeah,
it sucks waking up Christmas morning and you're sweating and you got to turn the air conditioning on. You just don't have any spirit for it.
That's, I always think about that. It's so bizarre to me because I grew up in Pennsylvania and you have all the seasons. The seasons are the holidays to me. Like, if the leaves don't change, it's not Halloween. If there's not snow, it's not Christmas. So,
right.
Yeah, I need that. I don't think I could ever live someplace where it's always warm. So,
well, see, that's the nice thing. I would assume probably 9 out of 10 times you guys always have a white Christmas, whether it's fresh or from a couple days past. But you guys are always usually on mark with that.
Yes.
Yeah. See, that's been the big talk around here with the flurries and couple inches here and there. Kind of actually starting to wonder what might be in store for us this year. So.
Yeah, for sure.
So what's been going on, man? Talk to us.
Just, we just brought the Blu-ray out in about the middle of October, and it sold like wildfire. So it's been really good that we had so many people that either held off for getting the barn because they wanted a Blu-ray, or they bought the DVD and they liked it so much that they wanted to upgrade and they double dipped. So there's been a huge support from the indie community, fellow filmmakers, reviewers, and that says something when somebody reviews your movie and then they come and buy it too. So I always appreciate that, and it's been crazy. So the last 2 or 3 months has just been shipping stuff. I mean, people buy the movie, then they come back to the store and they buy the shirt and they buy the board game and the vinyls and the posters, and so it's been really focused on maintaining the store and shipping and all that. But we're Zane Hirschberger, who was the DP on the barn, we just wrapped a couple months ago. We did 2 shorts in a feature film called 1031 by Rocky Gray, who actually scored the barn, and it's a horror anthology, and it all centers around Halloween and different tales. So Zane and I both did 2 tales over the summer, got them edited. Rocky put it out, and I think he's in distribution talks right now. So hopefully more people will get to see it because it only had 1 screening in Texas so far.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It did like a Halloween premiere somewhere in Texas, and it went really well. From what I heard, I wasn't able to go. And then Zane and I have been working on another horror anthology called Cryptids, which has to do with, Bigfoot and the Mothman and stuff like that. It was a project he was working on before he came on board for the barn. It kind of, I would say, fizzled out. People he was working with kind of went their separate ways. And when we finished the barn, I told him, I said, dude, let's go back and finish your project now. So that's what we've been working on, and we're hoping to do an Indiegogo sometime the beginning of next year to get the funds to complete that movie and have it out by next October, hopefully.
Oh, very.
So that's what we're working on now, So.
Okay. Well,
but everything slows down production wise when it gets to this season because you really can't do much outside.
Yeah,
it's too cold, So now it's kind of like we're getting together to edit what we've shot. So we'll take care of all that and then get into visual effects and all that fun stuff.
Well, I personally am always a fan of any horror movie that takes place during the Halloween season. I absolutely love Halloween movies. Yours, I absolutely loved it. It was one of the most fun I've had with a film in years. I
Well, thank
really,
you.
really did. The way you captured the nostalgic late 80s, from from Rocky with the score to wardrobe, makeup, hair, everything. And
Oh, wow.
how did that? What inspired you to put out that feel of a film instead of trying to be more
Um,
contemporary?
yeah, well, when I wrote the story, it was in '93, so I was 8 years old. And at the time, it was kind of like the height of Goosebumps.
Hmm.
So it was very much a Goosebumps tale, as a kid. But I wanted to make it scary because I grew up watching, Nightmare on Elm Street, Return of the Living Dead, Trick or Treat, and at the time I didn't realize those were 80s movies because they were just movies.
Right.
But the older I got and new movies started coming out, I started realizing that I really enjoyed the feel and look and vibe and story that came with these older films from my childhood. And when I had the chance to update the story of the barn to make it into a film, I knew I wanted to go the 80s vibe route and do more of a try to make this like it was a movie that happened in the 80s instead of trying to like make a parody of an 80s film.
Sure.
And that was my goal, but I had to, I wanted it to be infused with that Halloween feel and still keep the kind of, adult Goosebumps vibe to the movie. So it stayed true to itself.
Well, you did really good with that. I actually watched that one with my wife, and we both absolutely loved it.
Oh wow.
Really did. So congratulations with that.
Oh, well, thank
How
you.
hard was it for you to be able to go from, you wrote it as a child,
Hmm.
obviously. How many times? Well, let me actually ask, between you having written that as a child to making this film as an adult, how many rewrites did you have? How many
Uh,
add-ons?
yeah, there was tons. It changed so much because when I was in high school, I had adapted it I was going to try to make it a senior project. And, back then we had like VHS-C cameras and it was just going to look like a student film. So I didn't really want to like waste my time doing it. But the story I wrote then was completely different tone and everything than what it turned out to be years later. And I think it's one of those things where over time it just kind of fell into place of the story that I wanted to tell instead of that feeling of I need to tell this story right now, and it wasn't what I wanted because I kept trying to go away from the vibe I had created when I was a kid. So when it came back around, I think it was like number 14, like the 14th revision or something. It was
Mhm.
finally where I felt like this is a nice balance of what I set out to do when I was a child and what I'd like to do now as an adult. So
So,
yeah, I went through a lot. Even on set, it changed. Things changed. So
so looking back at it now, from 2016, from the time you were a child to now, all the rewrites, can you look at it and say, yeah, and just be happy with it?
oh, oh yeah, because there was a time where I didn't think the movie would get finished. It fell apart real quick while we were shooting, and like all the money went it just was gone. I hired a lot of bad people I shouldn't have, or I won't say bad people. I just people who didn't care,
The wrong
and
people.
it showed. Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah. And that money just went like that. So if it wasn't for the people that helped with Indiegogo to help us finish the film, it wouldn't have
Mhm.
got done. And there was a time where when I set out to make the movie, my wife and I, we had been married, we bought a house, we were doing a remodel, and one day I just went, I have to make this film before somebody else comes along and does something very similar. I said, I've been lucky enough that no one has kind of done this yet in all these years. And I said, but to do this, I have to quit my job and, just focus on it. And she was like, okay, do it. And I always told her, I said, if I don't try it, I fail automatically. And if I do try it and it doesn't work, at least I know. And then when the movie wasn't getting finished, I was like, oh, wow, I wish I would have never tried because this really sucks. But then came a lot of people to get the film done. And there's like, there's a lot of people who like the film. There's some people who they don't, if they didn't like 80s movies, they didn't like it. And I don't know why they'd watch it then if they weren't fans of 80s films. But I always tell people at the end of the day, I wanted to make my movie, and I got to do it. So, I mean, I'm glad there's an audience that enjoys it. But at the end of the day, that was just a dream of mine, and not a lot of people get to do something that they've always wanted to do. So that's like off the bucket list for sure. So yeah, it was as much as it was an excruciating experience at times where I was so down because things were going so bad. The story that followed, and just the conventions and the festivals and the people we met, and the fan base that's been growing. I mean, it made it all worth it. And I tell people, I think that if everything would have went so smooth, I wouldn't appreciate it as much as I do right now.
Sure.
Because it's a nice story when you look at it.
Well, congratulations for that goal from that age to now being able to do that. That's, like you said, knocking that off your bucket list, and that was your baby for X amount of years, so that's something that's got to be self-gratifying to say, win, lose, or draw, at the end of the day, that's mine and I did it. So
yeah, for sure.
Congratulations to you. But it makes me wonder, writer, director, and a major part, let's say, as an actor in the film. Yeah. Did you originally plan on, all right, this is my baby, I've written it, it's my vision, only I can direct this, and only I have to cast myself in the film? Was it something that you originally planned on casting yourself for, or was it one of those things where no one's getting my vision the way I've had in my head for X amount of years, so I got to do it?
No, my goal was, I wanted to write it and I wanted to direct it, and everybody else was because this was the first film I didn't shoot myself. I brought in other people so I could just focus with the actors and everything. The hardest part to fulfill was the monsters. I thought everybody wants to be a Jason or a Freddy, and then once they realized how much work it was, especially the boogeyman being in the makeup, because he's the only one that has like prosthetics and stuff, I couldn't find anybody to do it. And a week before shooting, the person we had planned to do it backed out. And I was getting just so overwhelmed that I was just like, you know what? I have to be there every day. I will just be this monster. I will come in early. I'll get the makeup and all that. And it'll just be easy, right? No, it wasn't. That was, it was a nightmare because, you don't think about it, but it really made it hard. And that's why I had to depend on so many other people, because I'm in front of the camera in scenes and I'm going, did it look good? Did I do this right? And the whole time I'm asking questions, I've got dentures in and I'm, and they're going, what are you saying? And you can't just pop them out because, they're glued up in your mouth for the time. And, yeah, I definitely underestimated all the wearing different hats but you know what? It's cool. It did work out because we never thought the movie would take off in this little underground thing that it has. But the best part is that I go to all the conventions and festivals. So there are times I dress up as the boogeyman and take photos with people, and it's cool because they get to actually be with the boogeyman and not just some guy in a costume. So it's nice, But yeah, it was, we always talk if we would ever do another film, would I be him again? And I don't know. I don't know if I think maybe next time I'd want to just be the director,
Well, it kind of makes me wonder, during the filming, how many times did you say, damn it, fire that guy in the makeup? Oh, wait a minute, that's me. Shit.
That's me. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was really, really hard. And there were times where I would go, maybe we just won't have the boogeyman in the movie that much, or we'll do a lot of over the shoulder so you don't see the face. But,
right.
He was always my favorite monster. So in a way, it was cool that I got to play him. If I had to play any of them, I'm glad it was him. And then obviously the guy who played Jack, his name is Jedediah Giacchino. He actually played the Scarecrow as well, because people were coming and going, and he was a tall, skinny guy. So anytime you see the monsters separate, it's always Jed as the Pumpkin Man and the Scarecrow in different scenes. He's playing the same, he's the same actor. And then if there's all three of us, there was another person standing in just for, for that moment. So I'm glad Jed was down with it. He was he's definitely saved the monster part.
Oh, that's really cool. Well, you mentioned I know I saw
Yeah.
you guys were doing the convention circuit for a while. How was the
Mhm.
original reception to that with the crowd responses?
Um, it went really well. I think we did about 13 conventions, and none of them were a letdown. And the more conventions we did, the more we started having people come up to us and saying, "Hey, my friend saw you at Monster Mania, or they saw you at Days of the Dead, and they told me I had to come see you and get this movie." So word of mouth spread really quick, and it was really nice because there was a lot of people come up to us, and we kind of decked out our booth, so it had like big banners behind us with the posters of the monster, and then the banner in the front. And then we always had like the video game set up, so you could come up with an NES controller and play it. And then the board game was out, and you just see all this stuff. And there was people that came over that said, simply off of the way we displayed things, they were going to take the chance on the movie, because they would go to other filmmaker tables and just see an iPad with a trailer playing and then maybe a poster, and then that was it. And they were like, a lot of people told us, they said, if you guys put this much effort into displaying it, I think I'm going to enjoy your movie, because I can tell you care about it. So
Yeah.
it was really nice. I mean, it was really cool. And met a lot of nice people at the conventions too. Big followed us online, and then they came to the convention. There was multiple ones we went to where there was people that said, "I came just to the show to meet you guys," and I'm like, that's weird, because Robert Englund's here. So like, why are you coming to meet us? And it's been really humbling. I will tell you. There was one we went to Flashback in Chicago, and this gentleman came up to us, and he wanted to buy a board game and have us sign it to his daughter. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. I was like, I said, is she a fan? He said, well, he's like, hold on a second. He goes through his phone, and he's looking, and he shows me a picture of his daughter sitting on the floor, and she's holding the DVD, and she has to be about 5 or maybe 4 or 5. And I was like, oh, cool. He's like, this is her first horror movie. I introduced her to the barn. That's her first movie. He's like, she
Really?
loved it. And I was like, wow. I was like, that's awesome. So yeah, I have it somewhere. He sent it to me.
That's
But
got to be
it's
quite an
just cool
honor.
stories like that. When you go to these conventions and you get to meet these nice people that support you, and you get to interact. There's people that I've seen them at several shows, and they come back to our table every time they see us, and we have conversations for 20 minutes to an hour sometimes, and we're just talking about stuff. It's nice. I'm really glad that we were fortunate enough to have that opportunity. One or two conventions and it didn't do well, it wouldn't be worth it, because these
Right.
tables are expensive. They're not free. So,
Right.
but it worked out for us. It's been really nice.
Well, do you think you'll be doing any more conventions in 2018 coming up?
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking with Rocky. We're supposed to do. We have a table for, I believe it's Days of the Dead in Charlotte.
Okay.
Um, in 2008, yeah, 2018, and that's the first table I know we have. We're going to be cross promoting together 1031 and the Barn, and then also Cryptids, the new one that Zane and I are working on.
Mhm.
So hopefully throughout the summer, I probably won't do as much as I did with the Barn, just because we don't, these other films. 1031 is Rocky's, so if he wants to keep like, doing tables with me, that's fine. But until Cryptids comes out, I probably won't do a ton of conventions this year. We'll be more focused on filming.
Yeah, I had actually seen some of your photo credits online from Monster Mania, and I was about to pretty much smash my head onto my own desk just because
No.
first it had to have been the one show in between the ones that I had gone to that of course I missed you guys at. Uh,
Uh,
yeah, but that's usually how things happen for me.
yeah.
But I've actually been on Rocky's butt for a while now to keep me posted with the movie.
Uh-huh.
Rocky actually has contributed some really great music as well as some graphics for houseoftorturedsouls.com.
Oh,
So I've
wow.
been in touch with Rocky for quite a while now. And anything you want to fill us in on with 1031? Because that's been a really high anticipated film with me. Waiting for the release, obviously. Wishing everybody that's involved in the film, much success with it. But anything you want to elaborate on there?
I mean, it's really cool that there were so many of us that have been putting out content of, new indie directors getting together and doing this. The nice thing with this was Rocky kind of gave us just a free for all. Like, make it Halloween, make it whatever you want, make it within this time. There was really no restrictions, and and then his company, they put the money up, so it was a win-win for us as the filmmakers to not have to spend our own money, but get to make a short film to be included in this feature film. And this was the first time since The Barn that I had a chance to work on something that I wrote, because the other projects I've been working on, I didn't write the stories, I just directed them. So this was really nice. And in the location I shot my story in is a bed and breakfast, and it's in my hometown, and it's beautiful. And it actually is right across the street from where I grew up, and I've never been in it because I never had a reason to go into a bed and breakfast, Sure. So when I wrote this story about my story is called The Old Hag, and it's about these group of student filmmakers, or video majors, that get hired to produce a commercial for this bed and breakfast that isn't doing so well, on Halloween night. And there's something in this house. It's kind of I would call it more of an Insidious type Conjuring story compared to the other. Some 1031 are kind of like a slasher vibe. Mine's kind of more of like the Hollywood's spook house type story, because I haven't had a chance to do that. And but shooting in this house was incredible because we didn't have to do anything with furnishing or set dressing or anything like that. We just walked in, we're like, this is it, because it was so great. So I'm really excited for people to see that. Plus, the outside of this mansion is just, it looks like something out of a fairy tale. And it's so much production value. Like, Rocky better be happy that I got that location for his movie. Because I'm not, no. But no, and then all the other films, I was very surprised how well they flow, all being different tones and different tales, and nothing being redundant. I think people are really going to like it. I was very, very happy. A few reviewers have had it so far, and if you said you didn't get it yet, right?
I have not gotten it.
You didn't give it to you? I'll make sure. I'll get it to you. You should check it out. I think you'll like it. It's definitely a fun movie. I don't know if it's going to scare anybody, but it's fun.
Exactly what Rocky. Last time I talked to Rocky about it, he said, "I think you'll really like it. It's a lot of fun."
Yeah, it is. So, it's a good watch. I think it's going to be something that is one of those Halloween films that people will put on in the month of October for sure.
Oh, well, that's cool. Well, like I said earlier, I'm always a fan of the seasonal movies, so I know to go top my list for me. Now, I got to ask you something, because as someone who runs a website, merchandise is obviously something that helps pay for the overhead of everything that you do. You got a lot of really interesting merchandise out.
Yeah.
The Barn. How did you? I mean, I couldn't imagine the investment. I mean, a board game, a video game, on top of T-shirts, DVDs, Blu-rays, posters, and so forth. How did you come up with the idea for a board game? I think that's ingenious.
Well, it goes back to like when I wrote the story. There was just so many things. I was never like a sports kid. I didn't play sports. I was definitely the art kid. Anytime I could have a chance to draw a picture in class, or once I got into video, that was, forget the other courses. I was in the video room all day. So I've always had this desire to make things. And as a little kid, I always wanted to make a board game. So I always made, basically out of like, poster board and stuff, and you draw the tiles and you'd make your own little games. And I always thought, how cool would that be one day to do it? And same goes for a video game. And when the movie was falling apart, I was sitting there going, how am I going to raise them? No one has heard of it. No one knows of me. I need something to make this film stand out. And my one friend, Mark, who was the assistant director on the film, he said, well, you and I both have always wanted to make a board game. Why don't you make a board game for this? He goes, this is a perfect kind of movie. He goes, you even said yourself, this is a movie that can be marketed like they used to with Nightmare on Elm Street. He's like, you always talked about action figures and stuff like that. And I said, man, that's a lot of money. He goes, yeah, but if you do it in a fundraising sense, you could raise the money to make that merchandise, and then once the initial cost is paid for, then you're selling, the stuff afterwards. So, like a percentage of, obviously, when you do crowdfunding and you give away perks, you have to budget into your campaign what you need to fulfill those orders. So luckily, in that campaign, we were able to raise the money to pay for all of that. But like, we designed the board game, Mark and I did, and then we went to Nathan Thomas Milliner. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He does a lot of Scream Factory covers and stuff like that with Horror Hound. And then we took him like the design of it, and we're like, can you make this look good? So then he did it, man, and he killed it. It was awesome. We were so happy with it. Same thing goes with the video game. It just happened to be just blind luck. Somebody contacted me that I went to high school with, and they were like, hey man, I know you do a lot of film stuff. We're trying to do a commercial and for a product, and we want it to look like an old, television commercial, like on VHS. Could you help us? And I told him, I said, yeah. I said, I've been trying to do stuff myself. And he said, what are you up to? And I sent him a picture. We had a prototype of the Barn the video game cover made by Devin Whitehead as a publicity thing. And he was like, is this a real game? And I said, no, not yet. I can't find anybody who can design 8-bit and code it and all that. And he said, I just invested in a company that creates that stuff. Would you be interested in us doing it? And I was like, wow, that was
what dumb
that
luck.
was so it was a rev share deal. So we just shared revenue. So we didn't have to pay for it. And we made sure we marketed it and got it out there. So
perfect timing, man. That's awesome.
And as time went on with merchandising, it was a lot of people just getting involved, associated with the film. And,
Sure.
I mean, nobody did anything for free. Everybody got something. They got paid something.
But obviously,
yeah, it was definitely,
it helps to know people.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And that's the thing, like I was telling you about the table. When people see the kind of content you're making and bringing up, products, they believe more in your film or whatever you're doing, and it just shows that you're not trying to cash in on something real quick and
you're obviously
trick them with a good cover.
Sure. Well, for everyone that's out there listening, now all of your merchandise is available on your website, correct? You there?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yep, there you go. Okay. Thought we lost you for a moment.
I lost you.
Okay. No. I was asking now, with all of your merchandise, it is all available on your website, correct?
The sound kicked out.
You can't hear me?
Hold on one sec.
Okay. A little bit of technical difficulties. Stand by.
There we go. Okay.
You're good?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I don't know what happened.
No, I've lost your video. What I do have is a picture that you've got in the background is of the barn. No, there you go.
Okay, there you go. All right.
Okay, perfect.
We're
gotcha.
Good? Okay, we're back. Gotcha. All right, cool.
All right. Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
What I was asking is, all of the merchandise that you've obviously spent so much time and effort into for the barn, it is all of it available on your website?
What's left? Because there was a lot of things that sold out. We did small runs. But yeah, everything we have left is up there.
Okay.
And that's at thebarnmerch.com.
Barnmerch.com, and you are offering free shipping right now, correct?
Yeah, doing it through the holidays till December 31st.
And is that on everything?
Just about everything, but it's only for U.S. U.S. residents right now. There's reduced shipping costs for international. When you go to checkout, you'll see it. You can select it. I think the only thing that's not on sale are the barn baddies, just because they're heavy and they're expensive to ship. Because they weigh like 2.5, 3 pounds each, because they're really big. I mean, I think that's basically the only thing that's not on sale right now that we didn't do.
Okay, I just want to make sure that anybody that does watch the show doesn't go to your website saying, hey, You two guys told me everything, everywhere in the world, free shipping, no matter what. So you guys that are out there
You'll see
listening, get over there.
Each a banner across it, it says, free shipping if it's
Okay.
if it's for free. So
you got to make things dummy proof nowadays. If not, you never know.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So, all right, talk to me about the future. What is next? What are you doing?
I'm hoping to finish Cryptids, and there is talks of potentially doing a sequel. I have the outline for it. We know which direction we want to go. It's a matter of who exactly can we get back, just because of reality of where people live now. They've moved away. Those actors are pursuing acting careers, and some are very, very far away. So it's a matter of scheduling. So that kind of could sway the movie, a direction I'd want to go with the film if I can't get certain people back. So after we do this Indiegogo with Cryptids, I'm hoping to start focusing on the possibility of the sequel. But this time around, it's definitely gonna have to be crowdfunded, like completely. I can't put all my own money back into it, just because the first time, like I said, that was like a goal. I would love to make a sequel, but I want to make a sequel if people want it, So I need to know that people want it, and I just don't invest all my money into it and go, whoops, that didn't work this time around, and there goes all my profit. So, that would be the goal, is to, because there's so many people that ask me. I get messages all the time. When's there going to be a sequel? I want to know what happens next, and I would love to tell the continuation,
Right.
but I'm definitely going to have to crowdfund, like a, make it all or it doesn't happen type thing.
You make a really good point with that. Was there ever a point while making the barn that you and your wife kind of looked at each other and were like, honey, this could be our last box of macaroni and cheese if this movie isn't a hit?
There would be times where I'd wake up in the morning, I'd go, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I did this. And I'd be like, I feel bad because my wife, she has her family has a restaurant. She works there. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, whatever you had to do today while I sat home and edited,
Right.
I really am sorry. Because there was a time where, when you first put the movie out, you just don't know if people are going to buy it. And if they buy it, are they going to rip it apart and tell people don't waste your money? And, but, I would say for every one person that says this movie sucks, there's 9 other people that love it and they tell somebody else to go get it, or they come back and they buy it for somebody else as a gift or a present, but there was definitely times where I was like, wow, I sunk, pretty much a good portion of my savings,
Right.
me and my wife had, in like at sometimes like a pipe dream, but in the end it worked out, and I'm really happy, and she's happy too. So
your phone bill is obviously paid for. I see the lights are on behind you. The roof is
for sure.
Oh, that's a good thing.
It's good. I mean, you're not going to be rich being an independent filmmaker, but it's definitely, you could definitely live, if you do the right things.
Doing the right thing.
Maybe not great. You can't live great, but
one of the biggest things that I've heard is always been an issue with most of the indie filmmakers that I've met and spoke with has been production. Production companies, actually, I guess, those who are going to distribute your film for you. What was the biggest problem that you stumbled across in getting the film? All right, we're done. It's edited. Now we just got to find the right people.
So the way the marketing happened, the Indiegogo opened up doors because so many websites started promoting it and saying, look at all this stuff this movie's, you can back it for and all that. So distribution companies started coming to us before the film was even finished, asking, we're interested in all this.
The production companies, or
I would say
correct. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would say like none of them. They don't want to offer you anything up front. It's all in the back end. Most of it's 50-50 split after they make their whatever they spent back. But they could tell you it's 99%. They could say you get 99%. We'll keep 1%. it doesn't matter if you don't know what they're spending money on and everything. So and I tell people this day and age, internet being, people shopping on Amazon, shopping on Walmart.com, Target.com, any place, you don't really need a distributor. There's filmmakers ask me all the time, and they go, why didn't you go with a distribution company? And I said, we've made money that came back to our pocket. And I didn't have to wait for 6 months to see a piece of paper to say that, oh, you didn't make any money this these last 2 quarters or anything like that. So I tell people, do you want to appear to be successful, or do you want to be successful? Like as far as money wise, and it's a lot of work doing selling your movie yourself. But I know that I've made way more money back than I would have ever done with a distribution company, unfortunately.
Oh, I'm sure. So if somebody orders something, does that go to you? I mean, I've seen some people, they post pictures online. They've got their table, they're moved the table off the coffee table, and they got the envelopes stacked, the DVDs stacked all over the living room floor, the labels they're shoving, they're mailing, they're doing everything themselves. Is that a little bit how you worked it as well then, doing things yourself?
Oh yeah, I mean, when we got pre-orders and Indiegogo and all that stuff, there was about 3 or 4 of us here packaging hundreds of DVDs and Blu-rays. Anymore, it's like my daily job is making sure getting orders done. And yeah, like it's just us. I have a whole room dedicated in my house. It looks like a shipping department, and there's mailers for every kind of item, bubble wrap, stacks of tape, fragile stickers, you name it. I just go in there. I've got a table laid out with cutting tools, and yeah, I mean, it's a business, it's at very least a part-time job, just taking care of that. But I would say, I tell anybody, I haven't met a filmmaker yet that has told me that making a distribution deal, they saw a penny. And that's unfortunate, because I know a lot of good filmmakers that made some really great movies, and they put a lot of money into it, and they've never seen a return.
Right.
And I feel bad that that they got a little duped there on being so excited to see their movie in a Walmart, which is great because my movie's not in Walmart, but I also made my budget back.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll take the trade-off, And I don't know, it's one of those things where I think sometimes, don't get me wrong, I would love to be like, we got picked up by a big distribution company, but I also don't like the fact that a big distribution company would be taking all the money. They didn't make the movie, and they didn't do all that work, So so yeah, but no, everything we sell, any movie, comes back to us to some degree. I mean, I've sold product to different companies online for them to resell, but they still bought it for me, and that money, their money came to me, didn't get filtered through somebody else and all that. So yeah, no, when anybody comes to our site and they buy anything, they're backing Nevermore. That money's going right back into the Nevermore business account, so we can do things in the future.
Well, I think that's great. I mean, that's got to have a sense of pride. Every time you wake up in the morning, you check the laptop. Hey, look,
yeah,
I actually have a reason to go in to that room that's full of bubble wrap.
Yeah,
and actually
we were just discussing this, and we don't like talk about it that much with people, but since you've kind of said it, Zane and I were just talking. The DVD of The Barn came out November 27th last year.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a year ago, and then 2 weeks?
Yeah, ballpark, yeah.
Since November 27th of last year, we've never had a day where we haven't sold a movie.
Really?
So yeah, we've almost had, we're getting close to 400 straight days of movie sales. Now, there could be one movie one day, but then the next day there could be 20.
Right.
It changes, but there's and Zane, we were talking, he's like, that's insane that for over a year straight you've had movie sales, and you're not a distribution company, and you're not people, because people find it. It's word of mouth, so people spreading the news, and then they come directly to our store. And so yeah, it's just crazy, because at one point we thought, as soon as October's over, the pre-sales are over after November of last year, it's going to go down. And it kind of went like this, and then it just went right back up. And then going to the conventions, there were times we'd go to conventions and then we'd come home, and that week after the convention, we would sell more movies during the week on our store than we did at the convention because people talked about it, that they picked this movie up and, here's the website. So yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, for sure. I wake up in the morning and I go, wow, I'm there. Like I said, when we made the movie, I'd wake up in the morning and I'd look at my wife and I'd go, I'm sorry. And this was a mistake and I lost all of our money. And now I wake up in the morning and go like, hey, yeah, that was worth it.
And
that wasn't a mistake to quit my job back then.
Now,
yeah,
you had recently posted online. You guys have been together for quite some time now, correct?
Yeah, 15 years.
15 years. I think that's actually what it was a before and after kind of a picture that I had seen online. So that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. And now we're having a baby.
Hey.
So
I did not realize that. Congratulations. When are we
thank you. February 20th.
Really?
So it's coming up. I wanted a Halloween baby, but a little off.
One of my son's birthday is February 20th. As a matter of fact, and mine's the 28th. So
oh, really?
Yeah. So congratulations.
Wow.
I'll be anxiously
waiting. Thank you. He's going to be a little boy. I'm hoping that I can introduce him around his like 4th or 5th birthday to My Bloody Valentine, so he can, that can be his birthday movie. Yeah, for sure.
Oh man, that's awesome. Best of luck and congratulations.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
great.
You.
Honestly, I'm sorry, I had no idea.
No.
Justin, I know dinner bells are probably ringing for you. You and I are both here on the East Coast. 6:30 is rapidly approaching us, and I want to thank you sincerely for taking the time. I apologize for last time when we had a little bit of technical difficulty.
Oh, that's totally on my end. I apologize for that.
But thank you so much for reaching back out to me to try and reschedule. It means the world to me. So, any last words for us?
I just want to say anybody who's checked out the film and supported it, or, thank you. And if you wouldn't mind going and checking out the store and, if you want to support it, thank you as well. But stay tuned to House of Tortured Souls, because we're going to have an announcement coming up soon for some barn stuff. So, yeah, it's going to be fun.
Exciting stuff coming up. You guys make sure you get to the Barnes website. Also, he's got free shipping. If you have any problems locating it, be sure to check out House of Tortured Souls Facebook webpage, where we are also helping Justin to be able to push that as well. Free shipping throughout the end of the year. Justin, a very Merry Christmas, and thank you so much for your time. I sincerely appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Merry Christmas to you.
You guys take care.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.